No.
AC instant. Okay.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello, Facebook
everybody.
peeps. We have Coach Kris.
Oh, Debbie. Wow, you've got good
Hello.
eyesight.
And hey, Instagram, if you're on and we're sideways, you just have to adjust your phone because we have to put you sideways. I just can't, just we have to put you sideways today. It's just the way it is.
Yay.
Yeah, so there we are. Look, we are
Oh.
sideways.
I told you last time, Bill, people will instinctually turn it around.
Some phones won't do it, right?
It's just the comments will look weird
Oh.
because it's not designed for that.
Yeah, it's not designed for that, but it's all we can do because
That's all right.
why, Mikey? Why is that all we can do? Mikey tells me it's all we can do, but I would like to know that reason.
That's the way Instagram is designed.
Really, but I thought we've had on Instagram at vertical before.
We can go vertical, but you guys don't all fit.
Can
with
I,
us.
Oh, I get it.
Can I bell you?
This is why we can't go vertical because all of the three of us can't fit into the screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good to know.
Yeah.
It's so weird, eh? The delay.
Yeah. So anyway, we're with Kris, our longtime friend.
Yes.
How many years have we been friends?
25.
Oh, 25.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was just talking about
amazing.
that this morning. 25. I met you guys when I was pregnant with my third son, and he's 25.
Oh, that's
That's
amazing.
a long time.
We used to all hang at each other's homes and talk about health.
Yes.
That's what we did. We talked about health, physical and spiritual and emotional.
Yeah, and everything in between.
We
Yes.
still do. We just
We-
got together this
we-
morning. It was the same topic basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Kris was like pre-trim healthy mama.
Yeah,
I mean, you were
I
there
was
when
with you guys.
You
Way
were.
pre. Yeah,
Pre of the pre of the pre.
pre. That's right.
and you were kind
We
of
were Trim Healthy Mama together when there was no name for
That's
it.
right. Yeah.
And so then Kris became, she helped us set up our coach program and because she was what was you were a coach for what?
I was a personal trainer.
Personal trainer.
Mhm.
So we're like, hey Kris, come join us and let's make a coaching program for THM. And so
I remember going to her house for lunch once. She had made this soaked sprouted cashew cream that went over something delicious. I just remember the raw cashew cream. I thought it was
Was
fantastic.
that when we were doing raw days?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And you put
Oh,
it.
yeah.
We did Pilates with you. You were coaching Pearl and our
And
sister
Ben was
Benjamin.
there. Oh,
Yes.
That was hilarious.
We were all doing Pilates in her living room, and she was Coach Kris to us, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Those are the good old days.
It's amazing because you even were doing like when Serene was raw, you were doing the raw. When we're all vegan, you were all vegan. We did everything together.
We did. Nourishing traditions.
Yes,
That was
yes,
it.
together.
Yeah.
And
I
now,
also we
Yeah.
all kind of were getting pregnant, all kind of at the same. It was kind of what we did back then. But I remember I was 3 weeks late, and you were like, "Take the bloomin' test." And you had a spare one in your bathroom
Yeah.
cupboard. So I found out one of my babies at your house. I remember that. It was Cedar. Yeah.
What's
I
kind
love
of
that.
interesting thinking about all the different, I guess fad diets we called them back then. These days they're kind of extreme diets. We were always chasing, all of us, because we're all so interested in nutrition. What's the best way to eat for us as mamas? What's the best way to
Yeah.
raise our families? And we kept trying these things, and then we found wisdom, we found
Yeah.
sanity, and none of us have changed
No.
since then.
No.
We just
For
still
sure.
going
Yeah.
along.
I love that. I think that's what drew us together
Yeah.
too, because we started when we met. We started talking about exercise and nutrition. That's how we
Yeah.
connected.
Yeah. Because
This
we
is
went to some meeting. It was actually our mum's
Yeah.
meeting. But we were like, Pearl and I were like, who is that? She's got it figured out. She had muscles.
Yeah.
She had muscles.
Back in the day.
You still have muscles.
Yeah.
What you talking about, girl?
I'm gonna have muscles the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I'm all about let's be strong.
Yes.
So anyway,
Yeah.
hey, thanks you guys for joining in. Ask questions if you want. We got a screen here so we can see your questions.
Get my teeth. My
I
teeth.
can't. Can I see Instagram questions? Yes, I can. So we're just gonna kind of like sit and chat with Kris because she's got such good advice and encouragement. I think
Thank you.
for
Yes, she does.
women that are struggling, and especially mindset, right?
Yeah.
In your coaching, what do you think is the biggest thing? Would you say, and I'm kind of leading you to an answer,
Yeah.
but you tell me if I'm wrong. Would you say it is being equipped with everything you need, like menus, recipes, all that, and that's helpful? Or would you say there's a bigger picture with mindset? What would you say?
I think
mindset is everything. I really do, because if you don't have the right mindset, you will not show up for yourself consistently. You will not get the menus. You will not do the workouts. When we're not in our growth mindset, we are a lot of times in confusion or doubt or unbelief or self-sabotaging thoughts. So to me, mindset is everything, and it is actually how I've been able to stay on the Trim Healthy plan for as long as I have, consistently. And it wasn't until I learned the mindset tools, I was kind of still, back and forth. I was still kind of struggling. And with, out of all of the clients I've had over all these years, when these women get the mindset, and your book is part of that as well, get the mindset piece, then it becomes easier, and it becomes not about a diet, but it's just, this is my lifestyle, and this is how I'm nourishing my body. So I think it's everything, and I do a lot of coaching on it.
So how do people do it? Like, it's all fine to have a great mindset, but then life hits the fan, right? And we were talking this morning, your life is not easy right now.
Right.
What?
Well, I just was thinking, just before you asked that question, and it triggered me, Pearl, when you said sometimes life hits the fan. And that's what I wanted to share too about mindset, which is kind of similar to the word lens. Is it similar?
I think so, because the way you're looking at the picture of
Because
your life,
it doesn't matter what circumstances you're in, even the craziest of the crazy, your mindset about it or your lens with which you look at it is what will set you apart for victory in it or absolutely drowning inside of it. But isn't it just, it's not even the circumstances that is the okay, if the circumstances change, then you'll get victory. If they stay the same, then maybe whatever. No, the circumstances have nothing to do with the end result. It's actually the mindset. Because, we've been, the things that we've gone through separately, as friends, we know each other's lives, and we know we've gone through extremely difficult times. I know your mindset right now is amazing. I know it's giving you victory. I know when my son was fighting cancer, it wasn't the situation changing that caused me to have a great day and be able to, last of the day, it was all mindset change.
Yeah.
I could have a bad day through mindset or a great day through mindset. The situation didn't change.
Yeah.
At the time, it was just a brain change.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so that's what, when you said when things hit the fan, and now, whatever you were going to say, Pearl.
I just asked you the question. So how, in your life, how did that happen? How did it change so that you can have this mindset that makes you successful? Because I know so many people are watching right now. It's like, if only I could do that.
Yeah. I tell you, it's interesting because it was when I hit perimenopause.
Yeah.
And so I had my last baby at 44. I was on plan. It was things weren't working for me at 44 like they were when I was even 40. And so that's when, I was like, okay, I'm going to keep doing this, but I need to figure out a different way of doing Trim Healthy. And at the same time, and you guys remember this, I had a very good friend pass away with cancer, and I was with her in that journey. I had some lots of teenagers and those struggles. I was hitting perimenopause, so my hormones were whacked out. I had low-level anxiety. I just had all of this stuff going on, and I did not know how to manage my life. All I could do was just listen to the voices, and the negativity in my head, and I couldn't rise above that. It was like no matter what, I couldn't talk myself out of that. And at that time, I joined this coaching program, and I just learned this tool. So this is just a tool. And I got it from the life coaching school, and the way I use it is to renew my mind. And this is what I teach my clients. This is what I do every single day. Is this model basically is we have circumstances, and then we have thoughts about our circumstances. When we have a thought, we're going to have a feeling. And when we have a feeling, we take action. And when we take action, we create a result.
Yeah.
So a lot of us, me including me, have spent time trying to change my circumstances so I can be happy or I can be peaceful. And that wasn't working anymore. And I was actually really struggling. And so I began this mindset work, and it's just a practice. Honestly, it's a daily practice where you just do a thought download. You dump your thoughts, all the negative, just all the stuff. And you don't judge yourself for it, though. There's no, this is bad, this is whatever. It's just, here are my thoughts. I'm going to take a thought here that's really not helping me. Like I can't do this anymore, or this is too hard, or this isn't fair, or whatever it is. And I'm going to put it through this practice, this model. When I think this thought, I feel like depressed. When I'm depressed, I don't show up for myself. I'm not taking care of myself well. When that happens, the result that I create is I'm kind of digging myself into a deeper hole. So just even looking at that, that's unintentionally what my brain is showing me. Well, what I learned is I don't have to think that thought. That was powerful. I don't have to choose the thought. It's actually a thought. I can choose a different thought. So I started practicing letting those thoughts just be there, and I was like, no, here is what I'm going to think instead. And so I started directing my brain to think a different thought. And it's not like a positive thought, like I'm going to all this big positivity kind of thing. It's more of, what is a helpful thought here? What can I think and believe so that I show up in a way that I want to show up and create the result that I want to? So when I started, using these, I will, with clients, if they're telling me like, I'm just having such a hard time, this is too hard for me, or I just can't seem to be consistent, we do this mindset work and we plug that in, and then we get different thoughts. We get helpful thoughts so that they can show up differently. So that's how I've trained myself. It's a training. I call it renewing our mind. This is just a tool. So I just love it that we don't have to think and grab a hold of every thought that comes into our head.
Yeah, so true. And for those of us that are believers, it's just like what the scripture said, put off the old thoughts, put on the new. But people get all like, oh, put off the old, guilt, shame for that thought. You should never have that thought. Why are you having that thought? But that's not what the Bible says.
Right.
It's just like what you're saying. It's just a training. It's just a practice.
Yeah.
It's girding the loins of our mind, which is like the old King James, but it just means not letting those thoughts that are around in the muck pulling us down to be the ones that own us.
Right. Yeah.
And I've had to do that. I'm still in the midst of all this too, right? Some days you just mess up and you junk at it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, like every other day probably.
Yeah. But I'm so much better than I used to be.
Yeah, me
and my
too.
mind is so much of a more overcoming place than it used to be. So I have made little steps. So I think if you're watching right now and you think, well, I'm so far away, good. Then you've got some place to go.
That's fantastic.
It is a practice. I mean, it really is. It's practicing it. The more that you do it, the better you'll get at that. And that's another thing, even with Trim Healthy. If you're doing Trim Healthy and you feel like it's hard, the more you do it, the easier it gets. And so one thing I did want to share today that I think would be helpful for anybody that's struggling with anything, but I'm kind of thinking of, okay, what would these Trim Healthy mamas and people, what do they need right now? What do they want? They need encouragement. And so the encouragement isn't to do more, I don't think. I think it's to put on the mindset of what can I do? What is the next step? What is a baby step that I can do? And then also become aware of what your brain is telling you. Because if you're not aware of it, you're going to have feelings and show up in a way that you're maybe not happy about. So just maybe start watching what your brain's telling you. And sometimes if I have a doubtful thought about something like, well, this won't work. This Trim Healthy won't work for me. I'll say something like, you know what, I just doubt that doubt. And I'm just going to choose to believe. And that was really, we were talking about like 5 steps. The first step is not to get your menu, although I do believe it's important, or to get your plan, get ready for yourself. But it really is to start believing. Choose to believe that this will work for you and that you will show up for yourself. And that's more of a by faith decision. And when you come from that abundant thought, you're going to be more likely showing up for yourself rather than if you're sitting in another thought like, I don't know about that. That might be too hard for me. This might not work for me. What if I put in all this work and it doesn't work? It's a different energy.
It's so true. We're 3 women sitting here that, have our passion is healthy eating and vital life, and our passion is to help other women. But you're sitting here after coaching for years. You were our first coach, and before that you were a coach, right?
Right.
And Serena and I are sitting here, I think 14 years in, almost after writing the book. And all 3 of us are saying, yeah, sure, we'll give you the recipes, we'll give you the plan, we'll give you all this, but it's not. All 3 of us are agreeing, it's not that, guys.
Yeah.
That's the gravy. the foundation, the bricks and mortar is this mindset. And we've seen it over and over and over and over again, that's where it counts and that's where it matters.
So true.
Absolutely. The second thing I wanted to say about mindset after believing is play the long game. How many of us want our results now?
Right.
I know I do. Whatever it is, I'm like, no, I want it now. And what I've learned is I'm playing the long game. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care if it takes till I'm 100.
Yeah.
I'm investing in myself. And when you play the long game, there's not a big rush. Like, what's the rush? We're going to get there. I love that. Like, what's the rush? I don't have to be in a hurry. It doesn't have to happen tomorrow. It is going to happen, and I'm going to play the long game.
And
So
it
that's
usually
helpful.
doesn't happen tomorrow. Usually it's a long journey. And even with callings on our life, even with, not everyone may believe in this, but even in prophetic callings where you feel like you have something that's been upon your life, that's been spoken into you, you just look at the stories in the Bible of anything wonderful, like victorious endings to stories. You think of Joseph, you think of Abraham, and his promise of being a father of nations. And not only were those stories very long to get to the victory, interesting thing is oftentimes when they began their journey, they got put all to the opposite. Like, think Joseph, okay, your family's going to bow down to you. Not that that's whatever, but he was going to save the nation of Israel, but that whole dream. And then what happened? His whole family betrays him. Absolutely opposite of what his calling was. And then what you think of with Abraham, you're going to be a father of nations, and it's not 1 year, it's not 2 years, it's not 3 years, it's almost 25 years where it's almost just a laugh at that idea, And so I just think of victorious people in this world, not even in the Bible, and then you look at the Bible, it's usually a long journey.
And you know what's funny?
And you might have to go to the opposite thing where you're actually taken down before you're taken up.
Yeah, because like what you said, like, a lot of people, maybe they come to, this way of eating and they're like 30s and they're like, oh, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to start a new generation meeting. I'm going to teach my family. I'm going to change my body. And they get started and then they hit perimenopause.
Yeah.
And talk about pushing you like
That's a waylay.
Yeah.
That's
like
what
a
happened to Joseph. No,
Yeah.
you're not going to be saving the nations. You're going to be in jail
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah.
And you hit menopause. It's a similar thing, but the long game is so good because there is a long game, and it's hanging in there and doing it with joy and finding the joy.
Yeah, it really is about not quitting. I think I coach more on not quitting than anything else.
Really?
If you do not quit, you will get there.
Why do people want to quit?
Many reasons. First of all, I think that they want to quit because it feels overwhelming. It feels hard. They don't know how to show up for themselves. They don't even trust themselves to keep going because they haven't been able to do that before. And that's where the mindset work comes in, is to help you continue. Like, you show up for yourself. When you say you're going to do something, you do it, and here's how. I think people want it quicker, so they want the quick fix, so they may go looking for other things that might be quicker,
Yes,
but not as beneficial. And when you're in menopause, it will backfire, which I've seen that so many times.
so have we. The short
Right.
game has
Yeah.
consequences. The microwave, Danny calls it the microwave method. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? I mean, it's going to leave you hurt.
Because the short game destroys muscle, and muscle is the long game metabolism.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It is. And I love all the things too that you guys are bringing about the protein and muscle as our longevity. It is so important. And so it's even more important to think about why we're doing this, as opposed to just trying to maybe lose weight or get into a certain size. I know that's important. It's important to me, but our health, especially as we're aging, is the most important thing. And so people want to quit, and because it gets hard. And so I've asked this question, like, how many times have you quit on this, and do you wish that you never would have? Where would you be if you had not quit? But I'm glad you're back, and let's go. Let's let this be a long game.
Well, we've got some questions coming in. We'll keep talking about your points because they're so good. But Rochelle Weaver, is it Rach Weaver? How do you manage life when your husband continues to say you don't want C anymore, but you can explain why? Can you say that question again, because it's not quite spelled out so we know what you're saying, because it sounds like an important question that we'd love to address, Hey, Totally Tiff. Our niece is watching. Hi, Tibby.
Tibby.
Can you give updates on our varicose vein procedures?
Oh
we kind of were public about those. Serene's are going great.
I'd
Look
shove
at
my
your
legs
smooth
up in
legs.
front of the screen, but I've got a skirt.
Serene has got such smooth legs, and mine are doing great too. However, all the pain is gone. I used to have aching legs from them because it's genetic. I just got terrible varicose veins. Did everything right, still got them. But I got a whole bunch of spider veins because he said, oh, your veins are so close to your skin. So the procedure gave me a whole bunch more spider veins, even though the varicose veins are gone. So now I've got to get those lasered off. Fun times.
Oh my goodness.
But I don't regret it.
You don't have the big anacondas.
I don't
swirling
have the
around.
anacondas swirling around my legs.
And you don't have the pain.
No.
I wear
that's
skirts
amazing.
now, and I used to wear the long to the below mid calf, like hippie skirts kind of thing, because I was trying to hide the varicose, but now I wear just above the knee.
Serene, you
Like
notice
a
every day.
shirt.
Have you noticed her whole outfit's changed since she got the varicose veins gone? She's a skirt girl, and they're just above the knee, showing the lovely calf. She's so proud of her.
She looks strong.
Yeah. Okay. So, Rach, write your question again so we can do it. But hey, go to your next point, Kris. I'm loving these points.
Yeah, I'm reading some of that. Okay, so I'm going to get practical here. So the third point is, and this is more practical, is to focus on what we can have instead of what we can't have or maybe shouldn't have. I know it's so easy to focus on the negative. Our brain is designed to do that, honestly, to protect us. It's looking to solve problems. It's looking to keep us safe. It's just the way our brain is wired. And so when I learned that my brain is actually going to go to the negative, it just like, I just didn't feel like such a schmuck anymore. I'm like, okay, all right, brain is designed this way. Now what are we going to do about it? Yeah, of course it's going to go look at every single problem that there is, and it's going to look at every single thing that can happen. And if I did that with some of the limitations that I have, like I'm allergic to eggs, so I don't eat eggs.
Yeah.
I'm limiting gluten, which I'm not doing that so great, but I'm needing to do that. There's some things that aren't going good with my body right now because I'm in menopause and working things out. So if I focus on all of that, I would just be doing nothing. I would just be actually eating whatever. I'd be like,
Do you know what you'd be eating?
Corn
You
chips.
get corn chips. Serene, I always call it the corn chip diet when you can't eat anything else, and women give up. And
Like we will talk to women at parties, and they're like, "Well, I can't eat this. Like it's gonna be hard for me to do trim healthy because I can't eat this." They list the 8 things, but they're eating corn chips while they're talking to us.
Well, and it sounds mean, but
No.
they get frustrated, and so they think I'm
But
just
you
going to
do
eat corn
nothing.
chips.
You do
I'm
nothing.
not looking down my nose at them. I see their frustration, but their frustration has led them to just throwing in the towel.
Yeah, that's what I mean is, so if you are going to give everything up because you can't have certain things, why don't we look at what we can have? There's so many beautiful foods and healthy foods and yummy foods that we can have, even if you do have a lot of issues. I work with people like that, but I like to focus on the can have.
Hey, you drink kefir, right?
Yes.
Was there a time in
Yes.
your life where you couldn't have dairy, or you've always been able to have dairy?
I have always been able to have dairy, but when I hit perimenopause, I started having problems with dairy and really even carbs, like certain carbs. And I've been actually able to now have kefir where I could only have maybe 2 tablespoons at a time. Now I'm up to a cup.
Yeah.
But I've been doing this
Oh,
for
your symptoms.
my stomach, not like bloated, but like stomach hurt.
Wow.
Remember that, this is just a flashback. When we were doing nourishing traditions, we started fermenting everything.
Yeah.
Remember we started fermenting everything?
Yeah.
And so I was eating, I'm like, more is better.
Yeah.
So I'm eating almost like a jar of fermented vegetables like a day, almost a day. And I called Serena, I'm like, man, my stomach, I'm just having such a hard time. And she's like, how much fermented vegetables are you eating? I'm like, I'm just eating like a half a cup at every meal. And I realized, okay, that's a lot. And so I had to realize my gut I need to start baby steps. So with the kefir, and now I have to have it. But now I can do it.
Me too. Well,
yeah.
mine's a different reason though. I wasn't always a kefir girl. I put kefir in after menopause because my daughter made it and I saw how easy it was. But when I went through late perimenopause and menopause, I couldn't eat some of the regular foods that I could without having my blood sugar spike. Because when all those years I could eat, the carbs and even protein, even things like Greek yogurt, whey protein, all those things, I would, my A1C was going up. I'm like, I'm eating the same trim healthy mama foods. It was lack of hormones, which was lack of lean body mass, and my muscles were puny, and they couldn't open up and say, carbs, yes please, protein, yes please. They were like, I'm struggling here, I can't fit you all in. You know, so since I've gained back my lean body mass, I'm a carb muncher, man. I can down the good carbs. And whey protein, bring it.
Yeah.
Cottage cheese, yeah, baby.
But there was a season where you had to go off of it.
I reduced, but then when I started really getting into strength training and putting the kefir in, it changed.
Yeah.
Over time, was an instant.
Yeah. I think because I've always lifted weight, I mean, I've always pretty much maintained my muscle. I think for me, it was less of a blood sugar issue, although the last year I did have a higher A1C. It was like 5.4, which really was a little bit high. But I remember talking about it, which is probably lack of estrogen.
It is.
Estrogen.
Lack of estrogen.
Yep.
And I did start lifting heavier. Like I've always lifted, but I've gotten into more like lifting to failure. And I've started losing muscle. I started losing muscle quickly. I couldn't build it, which I've always been able to build it.
Yes.
And then I
You were
started.
born with muscle.
I was very muscular, but I was losing it. So before the essentials came out, I started taking another essential amino acid.
Yeah.
I think you guys were taking Keon. I was taking another one, but I started taking that. And within 3 months, I mean, my muscle retention was there. My energy levels were better. My workouts were better. And so to me, the essentials and the amino acids and the protein are even more crucial.
No, for me too. I mean,
us in perimenopause.
it was
and
my
menopause.
game changer for sure.
Yes.
And I think has helped me even with some of the food limitations, you know, that I have. I don't have a lot anymore. But I do say, let's focus on what we can have, and let's
Back
have.
to that eggs.
Yeah.
No eggs is sad, but you
No
don't.
eggs.
You
No,
don't want
just
it sad.
think of all the people
I
and
think eggs are disgusting. I've never liked them. I think they're beautiful. I think they're wonderful and they're healthy. I hate them.
yeah.
I've never liked them. I was born this way. I think my body was just like, nope, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can have them in things, but like as far as like an egg on lentils, no.
But you just think of many cultures. It's not like they've even had food sensitivity tests. They just have 2 foods on every meal. It's rice and beans, rice and beans, rice and beans. You know, or it's like fish and white rice, fish and white rice, fish and white rice. Or it's, you know, you just think of cultures where they don't have the grocery store.
Yeah.
And it's just whatever the land grows around them, and maybe some protein source.
I think, woman and Serene, you and I grew up with third generation crunchies. So we grew up with healthy foods. You know, our comfort foods were healthy foods. I don't know about you, Kris, but you started healthy eating kind of early in life, right?
Yeah.
Because that was your passion. But so many women, do you find this? They come, and for them it probably is more challenging, Serene, because their comfort, their emotional, foods that make them feel better were sugar, were refined foods, and that's a sense of a loss, right? At first.
Like if somebody would take a hot shower away from me now, for the rest of your life you cannot have a hot shower.
Yeah.
I would mourn. It
And
would
then
be
we
like
say,
somebody
well,
took my
Serene, you
sugar
can
away.
have a cold shower.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to have a cold shower when I have a hot shower. It's psychological to me. I always love showers. I have 2 a day, and it's like, and I just went away somewhere, and I stayed in a place where the shower was terrible. It wouldn't drain, so there's cold water filling up from the bottom, and it had a cap on it. Like, do you know places where they think you're going to burn yourself and they think you don't know how to control?
And it's not hot.
So they cap it at lukewarm.
No, that's wrong.
It was lukewarm.
Yeah, that's wrong.
And so, if that's how people are experiencing a no sugar life, my heart does weep for you and go there. With
But
you.
if
Still,
you have to change, if it's like Serene, I'm sorry, that really hot shower is really bad for your health. It's giving you, let's just say,
giving
it's
me
not.
early wrinkles.
It's giving you inflammation.
I'm stopping.
You're gonna have to get this mindset of, I love cold showers.
I would do
cold
it.
shower.
I would do it.
It is a practice. You don't just go. You don't flip the switch. First, you have to make peace with. Here's what I need to let go of. Let me be sad for a little bit. Let me be disappointed for a little bit. Let me let that be there. Let it matter. This is what I tell my kids. Set a time limit. Let it be mad for 5 hours, and then let's move on.
Do you mind if I push back a little on that? Because we usually do, and I mean, this is what
Mention was sitting back at our couch because I was about to push back too, but good, you go through it.
This has always been our relationship with us women. We love to challenge one another. Yes, I'm all about observing the thought and not guilting ourselves or shaming ourselves for it, because like you said, our human nature thinks negatively. It feels anger, it feels despondency and despair. But those thoughts, you know, setting a timer for 5 hours or allowing us to express it, my thoughts here harm our bodies. You let cortisol raise with anger. I mean, you let yourself go, I'm just going to experience. Of course, there's sadness and loss and mourning. We can do those things. But I feel if we I'm just getting mad right now, you know.
Mad is
hurts our
different.
bodies.
Mad is different from a tender mourning and things
Mad
like
is different
that.
than sad. And I'm not saying unleash it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying allow it to be there and
I feel like
not stuff it, because when we stuff it,
Yeah.
it's going to get stored in our body, in my opinion. So it's
Yeah.
more of a
Yeah, I'm definitely not about stuffing.
there's a balance with that.
yes, and I would push back and say, especially with sadness, like in the Bible, I'm always bringing it back to they would hire the wailers, to get it out. Like, it's not enough that I'm going to be wailing. I want to hire a professional team. That's what they did in the Bible. They hired, that's what they did for a living. They wailed the people. And they would go and they would wail, and it would get that primal yell at. I don't know. So I understand, don't stuff, especially with mourning. But with anger, I think it's one of those things that's like, one of those things you say, oh, I recognize you, non-redeemed emotion. Like, I don't see anger in the fruits of the Spirit here, so which one would it be where I could combat that? I'm going to put anger, I'm going to catch you, anger, and maybe I put long suffering in here, maybe I put patience, maybe I put, what's the fruit of the Spirit that I can put in its place? So it's not necessarily ignoring anger and stuffing it and putting it in some other compartment, but like saying, okay, you're angry, I'm not going to condemn myself for it, but I'm going to replace you with something better suited for my health. Yeah?
Yeah, I think that's a transition. I mean, I think there's a transition. Like, you have to acknowledge it, but you don't want to, go with it. And you're right, like cortisol levels and whatnot. But at the same time, if you stuff it, that's going to cause some issues. So I think there is, I just don't like to go from, okay, if my kid is not happy and upset, feel like, okay, just shake it off, be happy. I think there's just a transition. And even when we're transitioning with our food, there's out with the old, and there's a process with that. And then acceptance, and then we're moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely wisdom to that. I don't embrace the whole thing because I think it's a very modern thing that everyone's coming on to. Well, don't stuff, because people did stuff and it was harmful.
Putting
right?
off isn't stuffing.
No,
I
mean, I like a good debate.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think with me, I'm going through my personal life, and I called myself a glass half full person. My nature is to just really get down in the dumps. I don't know. It's Pearl. I would always just say I'm a worried person.
Well, I remember her turning 20.
Yeah.
And I was so happy about her birthday, and I was so excited for her, but she was laying on the couch. When she was 20, just laid there all day. I'm like, what's going on, Pearl? She goes, I just turned 2 decades.
I'm 20. It was so depressing.
All the things she hadn't accomplished in her life, and and it was so glass half full.
Yeah, so for me, I can't.
Yeah.
I have to catch it and but Pearl, that is not you. You have the mind of Christ. You've been given joy, and why so cast down on myself? Put your hope in God. So for me, I have to. My turnaround is not giving myself time, but literally saying that's actually not you.
Because you're not stuffing anymore. You're cleansing it.
You're I agree with that.
I think we're all different.
I think there's different personalities.
Yeah.
And I would agree. If somebody has a propensity to kind of go down that road, it's like, oh no, come on back, little.
Yeah, because
come
you
on back,
could be
little
an
one.
inch, baby.
Yeah.
I'm so down. It's not even funny. Just give me a little inch.
And I suppose it's also different what we come from, our households, our family lines. And Pearl and I came from a family line of not stuffing it, but whenever our parents saw us down, they'd be like, they would just give us 1,000 wonderful reasons why we can replace that with our fantastic, positive outlook. And so there was immediate foxes caught, so we weren't really allowed to even express or, not that we'd get in trouble for it, but we were greatly encouraged to get over it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Not if it was mourning, never for sadness, but more for anger.
Yeah,
and
I feel like
moods.
you gotta when something's sad, you gotta feel the sad. That's true.
I agree.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're off on tangents,
Yes, we are.
aren't we? We're on
And
tangents.
I saw a question.
We've got so
that-
many questions
yeah,
now.
There's one about the optimized protein powder, and we're kind of going practical, please explain a little bit about the optimized whey protein powder and how much does it actually count as?
Oh, that's a good question. So there's been so much confusion on what you count your Jolly Optimized protein powders as.
Like
Because
apples and oranges.
when we first put out our optimized protein powders, we had a scientist who worked on the formulation with us, and he calculated these bioequivalent numbers, which are actually correct, as in what can this protein do for you. He's like, okay, let's take into account the glycine, which is huge uptake into the muscles. Then you've got the lutein, you times
See,
that.
glycine doesn't just uptake in the muscles. Glycine gives you human growth hormone.
Yeah.
Glycine actually enhances your anabolic state.
So then you've got your lutein, you times that by 3 by the protein in it, you know, the hemp or whatever, or just by the other amino acids. So he had all the, you know, he's a doctorate. He had all this stuff, and he came out with 48 grams for the 48 for the hemp, was it? Yeah, 48 for the optimized plant, 48 for the others, and then 90 for the essential amino acids. We were like, guys, these are the bioequivalent numbers. This is incredible. Not really knowing that people would just count those numbers and then maybe think, well, I don't really need protein for lunch. I had 90 after my workout, you know, or I don't need 90, maybe I'll just take 1 teaspoon instead of a tablespoon. When really those numbers were just a mathematical calculation to show, hey, it's like eating a big steak, but your body will absorb it all, and there's no...
Because there's no ammonia and there's no byproducts that are harmful, we would still encourage you to actually eat the whole food protein you were about to eat, not consider that.
So now we're just going by the bioavailable numbers that are, you know, very conservative. So we just count 30. Why 30? Because 25 to 30 is what you basically need, right?
Yeah.
But we know they're actually giving more than that because of their bioavailability. So we just say log it as 30, apart from the collagen, we say log it as 25. There's not quite as much lutein in there. So just log them as 30, then you won't freak out.
And the fact is every 3 hours.
Easy. That's so easy.
Every 3 hours, your body is ready for a
3 to
fresh
4.
muscle synthesis,
Yeah.
a fresh trigger to synthesize muscle. And so it doesn't matter how many grams of protein you got at a sitting 3 to 4 hours ago. That's used. There's no more muscle trigger. You want to trigger muscle again so that you don't have a catabolism in that time frame. You need to have
So
fresh.
I get this question a lot. Can you have too much?
Okay, you can have too much meat protein.
No, I mean of the optimized or the collagen.
Well, it depends on who you are. And I was just answering a question to a pregnant lady yesterday. She's like,
Pregnancy is different.
yeah, can I do what? How much optimized? And I said, if it was me, if I was pregnant, I would have 1 to 2 servings of something optimized that day, but no beyond. And I tell you why. I want pregnant women to concentrate on whole food proteins, but optimized proteins. They may be based on a whole food, because whey is a food, collagen is a food, even though it's a protein powder, it is a food, but they have supplements added in there. And when you're pregnant, you never want to go too party crazy on supplements. You just be very mild with supplements. And so
However,
that's why.
if you're in your first trimester and you can't get meat down,
No, but
and
I would
stuff,
say
yeah.
go and balance that with the regular whey and the regular
Yeah.
collagen. I just don't want them having too many free-form amino acids all the way through the day, because pregnant woman, you just want to be careful. So I would say I would have optimized collagen in the morning probably. I'd have an optimized whey with yogurt maybe for dessert or whatever. I'd have all this whole food protein. If I wanted added powders after that, if I was pregnant, I would just have the normal whey and the normal collagen.
Yeah, you're
That's
saying
what I'm
1 to
trying
2
to say.
times a day.
I'm talking
That's
optimized. Optimized, because I don't want them having so much free-form lutein when they're pregnant, because
But that's
Just
a pregnant woman. When it comes to regular woman, can you have too much optimized free-form essential amino acids? So I'll answer and then you guys can. You can't actually, you can't, the fact that it's not going to hurt your kidneys, it's not going to be stored as fat. Now, you can waste money. You can really waste some money by getting, you know, more than you need. But you can also get more lutein than you need. The studies show they actually can give optimal muscle synthesis up to 5 grams. And that's more than we're giving. Okay, but it was very healthy, really good muscle synthesis.
and that's not per day, that's per
per
trigger.
surrogate.
per trigger.
Now,
of
I'll
muscle
have for a
centers.
full serving 3 grams.
Right.
But then you might have some more food in there, so you're all fine. I personally wouldn't be going over 5 grams of lutein in a meal or a snack. Why? Why are you doing that? You don't need it, and you're wasting your money.
Well, I waste my money sometimes. It hasn't hurt me, and I don't have any like eye glitches and twitches, so it's safe. If I was pregnant, like I said, I'd be more conservative because I don't want to guinea pig my baby. And I have read studies that free-form lutein is healthy, but I haven't read studies that you can have it all day long like I have it now on my body that's not pregnant. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So it's safe, but I'll just be.
What do you tell the woman, Kris?
The same thing,
Yeah.
just because, well, it was funny, I got this question, can I get to optimize? And I was like, never, you can never get to optimize. But I will say that some people, like my son, for instance, he's very sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he's using the essentials, he has to use less. If he uses the full tablespoon, it really upsets his stomach because he's very sensitive.
Okay,
So if somebody is a little more sensitive, then I'll say, yeah, you might want to back off on that. But for the normal person, and especially for the woman in menopause that really does need that good protein, I've been saying the same thing. And the same thing with the bioavailability stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so, how do you even explain this? Can we just say it's 25 grams? Like, just say it's 25.
And we did it.
Okay, yeah, I think I read that. I was
But
like,
now
it's
we just say
25.
30.
And
It's 30, okay.
And if you're thinking elderly people, with incredibly sarcopenia, that's extreme sarcopenia, and maybe
needs wasted muscle.
and maybe they don't. They have a very sedentary life. Maybe they're even housebound. Some elderly. I have told my parents, you need to be having essential in the morning as soon as you wake up, essential before you go to bed, and at least 2 or 3 optimized during the day. Because I just think that they need all the help they can get.
Well, they're not strength training.
Yeah.
They do need all the help they can get. Now, in the 2 books that are really like that, I would call them the best in the business. The 2 books that Sri and I mention all the time. It's In Search for the Perfect Protein by Dr. Minkoff and something about the essential amino acids by Dr. Robert Wolf. They talk about having a minimum of 2 servings of essential EAAs, after 50.
And then they talked about 4 servings a day on women, and they did a study about facial integrity and collagen and wrinkle depth after 4 servings a day, and it was amazing.
I wish, these are the things I look back and I wish, and I told Serena, I wish that in late perimenopause, I decided to go through menopause naturally and not do hormones because I had a bad experience, okay. So then I wish I was more nerdy about protein in my late peri when I went to menopause.
Me too.
I wish I got...
That's my other point.
I wish I got on hormones earlier, and I wish I understood about optimized proteins back then.
Yes.
I would not,
Yes.
I believe I would not have got this facial droopiness that happened around my jowls, and I got a lot of, it's coming back now, I'm getting better skin, but I experienced not only massive muscle loss, massive for me, skin, I lost my elasticity, and as optimized proteins, especially the collagen with it, is so fantastic for that. I wish I'd done it all 5 years earlier, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, now that's what you can give the gift to other people that are in that boat. Maybe they're in their 40s and they're like, what do I need to do to get ready for perimenopause and menopause? Is that because I wish I did all of that too, and I didn't. And I did start on hormones.
Yeah, you
earlier.
You did.
I did. I started on hormones earlier,
You
but
didn't have that. You didn't get the gelling. Yeah.
no. But I had all, we couldn't get me optimized because I kept having to break through bleeding, and it was like a whole year of trying different things, although it probably was better to have some of that than none of that.
Yeah, you got your testosterone, progesterone, you just couldn't get your estrogen
Testosterone's
right.
great for the skin.
I was still working out with weights. I didn't have.
See, I wasn't. I was doing little Birkins, no weights.
I did not get my protein. I wasn't getting protein, which now I'm like you. I've got to have the protein. I'm telling ladies, and 25 grams, 3 or 4 times a day is not a lot, but it feels like it's a lot. I hear that a lot. They're like, this feels like so much, like I'm just eating all the time. And of course, that's where some of the supplements can come in, because you don't have to eat all of that animal protein.
Yeah.
So that's why I love the optimized products. But I think our mindset, we haven't understood that we need more protein, and so it feels like it's just an abundance. But the RDA, that is the least amount of protein that we need to survive.
And
The
it's
art-
like 58 per day.
It's like 60. That's the least
Crazy.
amount, like for survival.
But you know what? We showed studies in our book about the RDA and what it does. It results in sarcopenia.
Yeah.
So there's studies like if you go by what the recommended daily allowance is for protein, you will lose lean body mass.
And if you
it's
go by
like-
that recommended allowance for protein, you will not be satiated, and you will look for
and you want to eat
special carbs here
yes,
and there.
special, not healthy carbs. You want some
Special
empty ones because
Yeah.
your body. Hey, this is a question. I'm new to THM. Hi, Melissa. Welcome. I'm a little bit confused about snacks. What would be a serving for snacks?
Well, I would say the protein needs to be complete.
yeah, it's the
Because
same
probably
thing.
if you're having an afternoon snack, you haven't eaten for 3 hours. Because my snack's usually at 3 o'clock. I've had lunch at around 12. Sometimes I have it a bit earlier. If I really woke up early and had an early breakfast. So I feel like by snack time, I'm ready for that complete protein so I can get a proper muscle synthesis trigger. My protein will always be a full size. Something else may be a little smaller.
Yeah.
Although for me it's not. I have a full
Yeah.
meal.
I
every
do
3
my
hours.
food portion a bit smaller for my snack because
Yeah,
I
me
like a
too.
big meal, and my snack's a little small, but I always get 25 grams of protein. Don't skip it. I don't do a mid-morning protein food snack. I do have some essential mid-morning.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so we're twinning.
I'd like to
Yeah.
ask you, Chris, because you
Yeah.
hate eggs
Yeah.
and you're allergic to them, so good thing you
Yeah.
hate them. Give some people some protein ideas because you obviously have a good amount of protein, but you're down one that I like really anchor on.
Yeah.
People anchor on eggs because they're just so easy. You know, if you haven't thawed out meat, if you haven't thawed out something, or you don't have
Right.
fresh fish or whatever, and you're just sick of another can of tuna, you can always plop some egg whites or eggs in the
Yeah,
pan.
last night on my salad, I'm
It's
like
2
2
minutes.
eggs and a half cup of egg whites in the pan on my salad. Yum.
Yeah, that sounds so simple, and I've never even had the opportunity to do that. So I'm very weird in the fact that I eat leftovers for breakfast.
Yes.
That it saves me.
It's like
I
a
will
savory
eat- I will
breakfast.
eat leftovers for breakfast. My kefir smoothie over there is a go-to, and I do use the optimized protein powders. I love to do some sprouted bread with a little bit of avocado, and I get chicken sausage, turkey sausage. I'll do some of the animal protein that adds a little bit more protein and some meatiness to it. Those are my go-tos. I literally will do leftovers and those two things.
And what would the
And
leftovers be? You do fish, I know.
I do fish a lot. My meals are so easy at night. It's usually a protein and 2 or 3 veggies. I mean, that's just what we do. So I always have either chicken or fish or beef, and I pull that out, and I have veggies made up for me. So I always veggies.
Me too. I
Yeah,
either protein,
yeah.
veggies, or protein on a salad. It's like pick which.
But for
And
breakfast, you're a
I'll do
carby.
cottage cheese.
I do carbs in the break all day long. I do carbs.
Yeah, I do
Pretty
carbs.
much.
Yeah. And I do carbs at breakfast. But
Yeah.
as far as protein,
What's your
kinda-
favorite carb?
Oh, I love sweet potatoes.
I was about to say
I
that
love,
too.
That's
I
very-
love, I love sweet potatoes.
If somebody took sweet
Yeah.
potatoes away from me, I'd have a big hard, I'd have a big
Yeah.
horn.
My
I'd hire the whalers.
My absolute favorite carb is oatmeal.
Yeah, I love oatmeal.
I do
Like
love
if you
oatmeal.
took, okay,
So I
now
have oatmeal for breakfast, and that's
Yeah.
another thing I have. I have the oatmeal.
if you took oatmeal away from me, now I'm feeling the feels of the
Yeah.
people bereft of sugar.
Yeah.
Because now, okay, you're right. I have to go be sad for a while.
Do you know what I love? I'm
Like,
telling
every
you.
morning. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I wasn't raised on this. Well, Mum used to do it for treats, but it wasn't plantain, it was just banana. But since going to Mexico every year with Pearl and our now other sister Vange, I got hooked on plantain.
Oh, I love
I
plantains,
love it.
yeah.
I love it. So every week I will go to Kroger's and buy some really green looking plantains, stick it in a brown paper sack, put it in the bottom drawer of my kitchen and forget about them for a week. And then I love to spend the next week, I put them in the fridge then after a week, and every morning for breakfast, I just lightly coat the pan with coconut oil, just light, so it's on a non-stick, and I diagonally slice them, so it's all gourmet looking, and I cook them up like that, like salt, crisp them on either side with mineral salt and
that sounds
Ceylon
so good.
cinnamon.
And what do you have for your protein?
Well, I just have like essential when I have that because it's
Okay,
so
so it's,
filling.
hold on. I'm trying to get.
I have a powder, a protein powder, or I'll have a little kefir with protein powder, and
Excuse
it'll be
me.
a half cup so I can just
Excuse
down
me.
it.
Your plantain is your main food.
Oh,
You get
yes.
full.
A whole fat plantain. I've got kefir
that's-
and protein on the
Oh,
side,
okay,
and I
okay.
always have a matcha latte. I have to do that.
So do you do that instead of coffee? Are you doing coffee?
I
Are
do
you on
coffee once a week, and usually I almost kill myself.
She's got like Serene goes crazy when she has coffee, but she can do it on vacations.
yeah, there's enough adrenaline on the you know.
Can you do coffee?
Yes, but I'm starting to have issues with it. That's why
Because you need more estrogen.
I need more estrogen.
I do two coffees a day, baby.
Really?
2 coffees
Yeah,
a day.
it started to bother me. It started to bother me, but I'm not giving it up yet. I don't want to wait until I get
I
crazy.
do get hot
But-
after coffee.
Like I don't feel like
Yeah,
killing
yeah.
myself, just so people know. It's just every cell
Do
in
you
my
feel
body
jittery?
is
I
so
don't-
jittery. It's like
Yeah.
energy that's trapped, and I can't release it to do anything productive. It's just like every cell is a disco party going on, and they're all maniacs.
Well, mine
In
doesn't
the
feel
cells.
that quite over the top.
Hey, we've got a good question.
Yeah, okay.
Susanna, I'm about to go on bioidentical hormones. Nice. I'm so happy. Be sure that you get nice and optimized, Susanna. Would you recommend GLP-1 right away as well, or wait a bit? So here's the deal. It so depends upon you, and it depends upon your finances, and it depends upon your blood work, and it. Okay, so if you're short on estradiol, and you get that optimized, and I'm talking about over 100 on estradiol levels, it does help. If you use a GLP-1, it does help you work with it better, and you may be able to come off it sooner. That's the research.
Come off of what sooner? The
GLP-1.
Okay.
Because they work hand in hand.
Right.
So the incretin hormones in the gut, estrogen affects the gut as we know.
Right.
Incretin hormones are made in our gut, GLP-1's made in our gut. So when the gut becomes more healthier from estrogen, it releases more incretin hormones. And so you just get a better time of it. However, some people going on them both together is a beautiful synergy if that's what you need. But if you could only do one, I would take care of the estrogen first.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Because it's the right order of things, because you want to see how that will naturally help out. Because we
Yeah.
only do GLP-1s when we need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah.
What?
I
Say
don't
it.
know. Okay. If you're perimenopausal,
Yeah.
let's just say you're making enough estrogen, kind of. You know, let's just say you're not in late perimenopause and having hot flashes and you're down to below 50 or something with estrogen, but you've got 100 to 200 still. I might include the GLP-1.
You never know when you've got 100 and 200. You might be
You don't
40
know.
1 month and 100,
You don't
200
know.
right.
I don't know, and I think it's about, you know, if you've got insurance and they provide you GLP-1 at the same time as your estrogen, just don't miss out on that estrogen, because that's for your brain too. I don't know if there's I've answered this horribly, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but I just don't have a very firm answer.
Yeah, that's hard to answer because it depends on the person, it depends on the finances, it depends on what's going on. I like to do one thing at a time, just because personally I like to see how that's going to affect my body, because I can be wacko with some things. So for me personally, I like to layer those things.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Even if it's 3 months on estrogen first and then bring that in or something, even though honestly it takes a year on getting your estradiol levels up before you're more insulin sensitive. And I'm telling you, GLP-1 is such more of a heavy hitter. So you could get your estradiol levels nicely, get them at above 100, and you're feeling great, and you know your brain is enhanced, and so many things in your body are doing better. It will never be quite the tool that GLP-1 is.
I know, and just thinking about my husband, he went on GLP-1 first before he optimized his testosterone. He had normal testosterone for his age. Everyone, you know, the blood test was like, you're fine, you're great, that's normal. I'm like, yes, but is it optimal? Is it like when he was 27? No? Okay, well then we're going to fix that. So anyway, yeah, it was like, he was 47, I think, when he got it checked. And they're like, it's perfect for a 47-year-old. I'm like, okay. So anyway, we did GLP-1 first. And he had great results. Great results, didn't he, bro? Great results. But since I've got him on testosterone, he's a different person, different body, different everything. It's the two combined.
Out now?
Yeah, but the two combined were powerful.
Yeah.
There were more results when you put the two together.
Hey, and just remember, we're not your medical advisors. Hey,
Good disclaimer.
we've got a lot more questions. I love you guys giving us questions. Did we finish your points though?
We talked about protein.
Do we have optimized unflavored pristine whey? No, we only have the flavored ones. I still use pristine plain whey a lot.
Yeah.
I use it a lot. I'm not a sweetie, so the optimized wheys, they're sweet. People love them. But I just do a lot of the plain
I
whey
like
too.
mixing the half strawberry optimized whey and half vanilla. I said this on a
I'm
post.
gonna try that.
Because the strawberry's too strong.
Yeah.
For some of us, others of you love it, and I found it too strong. So when R&D'd it. We got it just right. Something happened in manufacturing. They've got too much flavoring in there or something. But when you mix it with half vanilla, half strawberry, oh my goodness, it's perfect. It's like strawberries and cream.
What do you put it in?
I put it in kefir. I
Okay,
put it
that's
in
really good.
yogurt bowls because yogurt is only 20 grams protein per
Right.
1 cup.
I know.
Um,
I do love like a spoon of it to flavor my
cottage
Greek
cheese.
yogurt. It's so good.
and if you're only going to do half a cup of something, maybe in the afternoon you're not super hungry for a full cup of something like even cottage cheese yogurt, then I put it in there. What else do I put in? I put in almond milk for like strawberry milks.
Yeah,
love
that's
chocolate milks.
Yeah, me too.
Those sorts of things.
I use a lot of the plain whey, and I tell you why. One of the main reasons we optimized it is for when people are in perimenopause and they have started to lose muscle mass because you decline after 30. And also if you have a sedentary lifestyle, you sit behind a desk all day, your muscles aren't really open enough for the quick insulin rise that whey can give you. And so we lowered the calories, we gave you, more lutein per serving, and it's going to go straight into your cells because of the glycine and all of that. So it's really great for people who have metabolic issues. The optimized whey is going to make you be able to utilize all the protein and have nothing left over, and not as high of an insulin rise. But I want that insulin rise. I want the insulin like growth factor. I'm like, gimme baby, give me like a jolly bro talking guy in the gym.
So
I'm
with
like,
that
I want all
healthy
that.
metabolism, you want that.
Yeah, I want that. I
Serena's
want
all
the
about
calories.
because she's gained so much lean muscle.
I like this gorgeous.
Yeah.
Well, you've already had it, but Serene's gained
Yeah,
it.
she
She has to do raw milk now. Not
Okay.
she still does kefir for the health benefits, but she has to put raw milk in for the whole
So you
crossoverness.
I just
you
ate like a
need
teenager.
more calories.
Yeah.
Your body
I'll
just
stick a
burns
whole scoop
through
of
it,
collagen, a
yeah.
whole scoop of plain whey,
Yeah.
a whole scoop of everything.
And your body's like,
Egg
your
yolk, put
muscles
honey in the raw milk.
take all that. Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
good.
But I never
Yeah.
used to be able to do that, but yeah.
Hey,
Good question.
Swindelinda.
That's a great
This is on on Insta says,
Oh, I love
I'm
that.
on thyroid meds and I have to wait 1 hour before eating. Does the essentials count as food, or can I have essentials when I wake up? What a good question.
Yeah.
Can I take it?
You can take it, but I don't like your answer.
Well, let me tell you my answer, and then Pearl can fix whatever I tell you that's wrong. Well, first of all, do you have to wait an hour? I only wait half an hour.
Some people with really compromised thyroids have to
Okay, we'll wait an hour. But this is what I do, Linda.
I wait an hour as
If
well.
you hate
Yeah.
this idea, then don't do it. But my husband and I are both on the thyroid hormones, and so our alarm goes bing, bing, bing at 5:30, but you should do it at 5. And then I have my thyroid meds and my water
I do
right
that
on my
sometimes too.
nightstand.
I do.
So I
Sometimes,
go like
yeah.
this. I don't even
Yeah.
turn the light on.
Yeah.
I slap the thing I ever put in my mouth, and I don't even get up. I just put my head up enough to swallow, and I go straight back to sleep, and I wake up when I can eat. Which for me is half an hour.
I have done that before. Trevor gets up at 4:15 and he always wakes me up. And I used to do that. I'd set it aside,
Yeah.
and I did that for a little while. I changed my schedule, and now I wait until after breakfast. Yes,
How long after breakfast?
an hour and a half after breakfast,
okay.
and I've just got it, and I take it with essentials.
And you by your test, you're still fine.
It's beautiful.
That's
it's
really
beautiful.
No, I'm gonna tell you.
I tried a lot of different things,
Okay.
and that has worked for me. So I'm just saying that works for me. Don't know if it works for you.
Okay, so
But my thyroid is beautiful.
so that's really good. I want to go put that into my.
But can I just talk about it? But people
Yes.
need to check it.
Yes.
And because everyone's different. And the other thing is what I've also heard is they say don't take it with other supplements. The little gelatin capsules of supplements is probably worse than essential. So don't take it with other supplements.
Right.
Okay, so
And food.
here's what I want to say, Swindelinda. Sounds funny saying that. Yeah, mine's even more complicated because I also take Dr. Amy's T2 supplement. I'm right out of this picture and I kind of put myself back.
Put it right now. Did you reorder?
There I go.
Yeah, I want to know what you think about that.
Did you reorder?
Finish what you're going to say, and then I want to hear about that because I've been curious about it.
Okay, so
I
then
feel
I asked
right.
Dr.
Okay,
Amy
yeah.
right
Okay.
up. I'm like, hey, can I take this? Is it
Yeah.
the same thing with thyroid? And she's like, yeah. So she helped me, but here's what I'm going to say. So we're all on thyroid optimized meds, not because we were hypothyroid.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I have Hashimoto's.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
Serena and I
So
just.
I've been
Did you
doing
take
this.
black cumin seed oil?
No, I
Girl.
should.
Yes, you should.
I mean, you guys have been talking about that. I need
Serena
more.
and I just wanted better thyroids because ours were like perimenopausal
Right.
junk thyroids, right? So now ours are awesome. But, so I don't, if I try to do what Serene says, set the alarm, I won't go back to sleep.
Okay, yeah,
I
can't do that.
Can't do that. So I just take it as soon as I wake up. Say I get up at 6:30, I take it then. Now here's the other thing. Then I take a T2 supplement, which is, there's many different thyroid hormones. So there's T3, T4, T2 is the forgotten one. And it has read my metabolism even more. I get to eat more food.
I love T2.
And it's helped me in my weight training.
excited.
Burns,
about
baby,
that.
burn. And it doesn't get rid of muscle, because you can have a beautiful optimized thyroid, but if you take too many thyroid hormones, it will start eating your muscle. It just will.
So
The
it's by
T2
it's
doesn't.
called it's the Thyroid Fixer, Dr. Amy Horniman. It's her
Okay.
supplement's called the Thyroid Fixer. It's T2. So, but you have to take that on empty stomach. So here's what I do.
So you take both of them together?
No, because the gelatin cap.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
got ya.
So I take T2 at 6:30, and then I take about 30 minutes to 45 minutes later. She said that's fine. No, I take my NDT and my T3, my thyroid meds at 6:30 if I wake up then. About half an hour to 45 minutes later, I take my T2, and you see, I can't eat breakfast when I first wake up
Yeah, I
anyway.
can either.
So about an hour and a half later, another half an hour, then I'm eating breakfast. Now, if you have to go to work and all that, you just have to time it with when you're going to eat breakfast. When
Right.
you get to work, or
But
not.
you know
What
what's
about
more
coffee?
simple?
Like I'm like,
I don't do coffee either.
Yeah, I have to
I
do-
make myself drink water before my coffee.
Do you know
you wait an hour before coffee?
I don't like her
That
answer.
sounds,
Don't you hate her
I
answer?
can't do that.
Just set the jolly alarm, Swindelinda. Set the
Well, I've done it
alarm.
like that. I won't wait an hour.
Don't you love the alarm idea when you did do that? It's so simple.
When I did it, it was fine. It's just that sometimes I couldn't go back to sleep.
Well,
which is
hold on,
not
but
good.
it's
Yeah.
6 o'clock
But
when my alarm
you
goes.
gotta do you. And
I
when we
know.
have all these little things we gotta do, then we need to
Oh,
do
so
it.
that's
Okay.
why you
Yeah.
doing it an hour and a half so
So
you can have
after-
coffee when you.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. It's all about the coffee, but don't tell me I gotta give up coffee yet. I'm just gonna wait, see what my body's doing.
So Anna
Yeah, okay.
Anna takes Dr. Amy's Thyroid Fixer too. It is helping me have more energy.
Well, that's so good to know.
I do feel a
Okay.
bit more strutty when I go into my home gym.
Oh,
I
yeah,
feel like I
I-
strut more.
They actually have a drink. She has a metabolism
Does
something drink. The
I haven't
metabolism
tasted
fixer drink, or the burner drink. I don't know, but it has T2 in it. Not as much as a supplement, but I'll have already taken the supplement, and I'm out of this drink.
Well,
I'm out of it. I may not be able
But do
to.
they-
could you take?
I was double struck,
Let me
man.
ask you this: can you take say the T2 or something like 30 minutes before lunch because you're on? You have an
Yes,
empty
you
stomach.
totally
so
can.
that's another thing. You
Yes.
can just set your
Thank you,
alarm.
Kris.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I never
good.
have.
Just-
I never have moments without food.
It's hard for me too because so we take stuff around our workout, which is
Yeah.
mid-morning.
Right.
But some people don't work out mid-morning. That would
Right.
be
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good
Yeah.
idea. I can
Just,
do that.
there is a way, right?
Half strawberry and half chocolate is
Swindelinda
great
is also
too.
taking Thyroid Fixer. Swindelinda, tell us your current routine for your thyroid
Ooh,
meds.
she's on-
And tell me if I'm saying your name right, your handle. Because who did you swindle?
No, it's swinned up.
Yeah, but it just makes me think swindle.
Oh no,
I
it
think
is
that's her last name is
Swindelinda.
Swindle. I've seen her in the Facebook. She's a top contributor.
Maybe it's her last name, Swindle.
It's Swindle. Yeah.
Oh,
I've seen her. Hi, Linda.
oh, there's Elise Cologne who says she loves all of us. And we love you too.
Yeah.
What else? Bloop, that's not
Yeah.
gonna work. I put it on the thing.
We're on the phone.
I tried to like swipe
It's hard
down.
to see. Yeah, that's. All right. The last point. Okay, I'm going to move on to the last point because
Okay.
these are some
We're
practical
done.
things. These are just things that have been what I see where women kind of go off, maybe.
Yeah.
And so after the protein, I say protein. We need to get the 25 grams of protein. You guys say this. I say what you say. I agree, and I see that it really helps when you're getting that protein and getting it first thing in the morning. It is so important to get it first thing in the
Yeah,
morning.
I agree
love
with
what
that.
Dr.
Breakfast, not necessarily when
No,
you
no, no,
first.
no, breakfast, yeah.
Oh, but I would like to fight with you.
You could do the essentials first thing
Yes,
in the
that's
morning,
what I
and
do.
then but having that protein, that we start building. I love what Dr. Stacey says in that. Most women, kind of the traditional woman, will have a breakfast a lot later. It's very light lunch, and they're loading all of their food from 11 until 8 o'clock at night when we're not moving around. And we need to start strong. 11, like start building, give your
Love
body
it.
that breakfast with 25 to 30 grams of protein, and start building. And that feels wonderful. And the longer that I go, I don't feel great when I'm waiting. Now I did do that before, and it's because I trained myself.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times when I'm working with people, they're like, I'm not hungry for breakfast. I don't want to eat anything
Yeah.
until lunch. It's because we've trained ourselves. It's also because of higher cortisol levels, and it can be because of leptin issues and hunger hormones. But you can train your body, and your muscles need, and even when you get that protein first thing, it calms everything down.
But the lean protein and the carbs, it's been shown in research, lowers that excessive cortisol in the morning and continues to dampen it
The rest
all
of the
day.
day.
So
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Women don't realize that. They're like, I can't eat carbs in the morning. This is a big thing we see. I can't eat carbs in the morning because I have high blood sugar in the morning, the dawn effect.
Right. Yeah, that was my last point, is about the carbs. But
Okay.
yeah, let's talk about that. Because
You know, it's cool that a lot of women say I have to eat just an S breakfast, and we're all about S breakfast sometimes, but the more we've understood about, you know, us women going through these later pause seasons, the more we've realized the absolute beauty of carbs. And, you know, what they've come to find is that you just cannot do S and think that your blood sugar is going to come into line. Because it's, even if you have high blood sugar, that is usually from a cortisol spike. If you give yourself some healthy carbs, this cortisol spike goes down, so your blood sugar will be better in the day.
Yeah, and you're never fixing your blood sugar by just kind of taking away the problem. Meaning, you know, you're never actually going to be able to deal with carbs if you don't practice to deal with carbs in the right and healthy way. Because people think, oh look, all my blood sugar is so stable and so wonderful. It's not really. You just don't really test it anymore.
Well, you're not
testing it, meaning you're not putting it in. Like, you could say, oh, my son is so great at math now because you took math away as a subject. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. But you have to keep practicing math and seeing it if he's better.
Yeah.
You know, and that's when you know.
Skills.
You've got to build your math skills, and that's when you know he's getting
So
better.
you're saying you need to build your carbohydrates.
Yes,
we
basically.
actually do.
And I do see that, because you can't just jump from not having that to having a lot of e-meals for breakfast. And you kind of have to train your body, or give your body time to adjust.
You become carbohydrate resistant. You don't know how to deal with it anymore, and then that whatever you give it, even if it's a little bit of sweet potato, it's almost like you gave it a donut.
But you
It's
understand
crazy.
though that it does happen, like, you know, you got lowered lean body mass, you got lowered hormones as women. When this happens, women are usually in our age group, right? And so there is that. So that has to be worked on too, for there to be full resolution. It's not just giving carbs to heal the blood sugar, it's giving carbs plus those things.
Especially if it's just sprouted bread from Aldi. It may not be the carb to work on. You know what I mean? Like, it's an on-plan bread, but
it may not be the best.
it's not oatmeal or quinoa. Or
Seems like the breads, the sprouted breads, sourdough, all of that can be not good for everyone. I've known that with talking to people, and they're testing their blood sugar and all that kind of stuff. And so, you know, I like having more of either oatmeal or beans. Believe it or not, beans for breakfast. In Costa Rica, beans and rice every meal. I was like, yes, I can do this.
I always encourage beans for any woman with PCOS, beans for breakfast. They're proven in research to be one of the best carbohydrates to eat in the morning, because, you know, those women are insulin resistant.
Right.
But it's a similar thing really for women in perimenopause and postmenopause, insulin resistance. Beans turn that around, especially for breakfast. I was looking at the study on black beans for breakfast and PCOS woman, incredible results.
And if you are a toast lover, though, there are ways around it. Because my peasant bread, bucket bread, that's, I don't know of a person who's going to get a blood sugar rise.
But I don't want to sit here and say, oh, you know, Aldi's sprouted breads are kind of lackluster, because guess what? For some people, they're that thing that keeps
and
on
it's going to help
plan.
them stay on plan. So
And
do
it's
it.
their freedom, and it's their way, and it blesses their socks off. So we're all so unique.
You know what? I think the only reason I mentioned that is we want to just give the right advice. If we say, go work on your carbs in the morning, maybe if you've been SSS for a while, you want, what, like you said, let's practice our math skills for a little bit. Let's throw in some things that are a lot more gentle, some really slow burning oats, and then we can make ourselves where we just burn in that sprout bread, especially if we got some muscle mass back on.
Hey, Tonda was saying, Tonda Smith, she had cancer, right? I struggle with eating first thing in the morning. That started during my chemo years ago.
Yeah.
And you go.
Well, I don't think that you need to eat first thing in the morning.
No, not first thing, yeah.
But within an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah, I think that's it.
And-
Serene would be like 2 hours. I can't
I mean, some
handle it.
people
But
can't.
Well, she could drink
But
essentials.
I was just gonna say,
is what
if you
I'm
start with, that's what if you start with essentials, if you just really can't eat, maybe some people are nauseous or something like that,
they
but
are.
you can give yourself some protein very easily. So I would start with protein, and then maybe you don't eat anything, or maybe you practice.
Yeah, you practice.
And I'd love to encourage you, Tonda, just because of going through this with our son who went through chemo and everything, the best thing that you can do is build muscle.
Right.
Because muscle is your immune system, and they've come up with so many wonderful studies now about how the way to fight back against cancer and having it never return is to get as much muscle as your body, because it releases myokines that actually speak to the different organs in your body and speak to your immune system. And also the muscle cells harbor your T killer cells that fight against, cancerous cells. And so I would just encourage you to get the protein in and build as much muscle as you can.
That's great.
I think, for cancer survivors, and Arden's sitting over there right now, I think the hardest thing...
Come here, Arden.
For many of them,
Get
and
on
this was
here.
Arden, he's told me, he's like, when you feel like so much junk because your body's been taken down to nothing, the last thing you want to do or
I don't
feel
wanna
like...
sit-
Come on, Arden, I'll sit on your knee. I'm just
Like,
teasing.
what you could do is to get in the gym and
Yeah.
make muscle, because you feel so... You said you felt like what? What was it? You said...
Crap on a Ritz cracker.
Crap on a Ritz cracker. Tell me you probably felt like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've always found out, like, I know the feeling, nauseousness, chemotherapy, and the likes. It's rough. Something that really worked for me is I would drink. I didn't feel like chewing, so I just drink. So I'd make my little protein shake with eggs or whatever, and I just drink it. And some people that wouldn't help with the
Raw
nausea,
eggs.
but for
Was
me,
that raw eggs?
yeah, but for me, like, I didn't feel like chewing. Chewing made me feel more nauseous. So I was like, just swallow it down, and I got my first meal a day, and I'm good.
Yeah.
So, but
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
You know? I mean,
Yeah.
And how much
yeah.
muscle mass have you put on since your full stem cell transplant?
well, I was down to 128 at my sickest, and I'm
And you are
220 now.
6'5".
6'5".
So you went from 128 after cancer at your sickest,
125. Yeah.
125
Yeah.
to 228.
220.
And he doesn't have any fat on his body, so it's muscle.
Yeah. I do have. Yeah,
So
it's
that is
small.
post-cancer people building
Yeah.
building his body back.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Miracle. It's not none of my own deeds.
Okay, you
So-
said it's none
And
of
a
your
lot of
own
work.
deeds.
I haven't told
Oh,
Yes.
Botox and plastic surgery definitely helps. I'll get at it. I won't hog you guys' thing anymore, but yeah.
Oh, always good to have Arden.
Yeah.
I love it. You've gotten to hang out with some of my boys for a little bit.
Yeah, I talk with Luke all the time.
They love coming out here.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll end with this.
texting Luke.
Okay,
Shannon said this is not on topic for this live, but that's fine. We've gone all over topics.
We are all over the place.
But I've been wondering about the screening processes of some of your items. Do you screen for peanut flour and coffee for mold?
Yeah.
Thank you in advance. Oh, you bet.
Oh yeah, we do.
We have such high, it's hurt us, it hurt our company, our high scruples for testing for heavy metals, mytoxins, things like that. We test
For example-
and we reject so many
For
things.
example, our green powders,
Yeah.
organically grown, never sprayed, but somehow maybe because it was like, maybe a mile or two down, but from another farm that maybe did have some sprays. It just, we kept testing them, and it was like 0.0.0
They were
something.
allowed.
Yeah, that was just higher than what we allow, but was totally allowed to be and sold. But we decided, nope. So we just canned that whole thing and lost money on that whole entire shipment because we wanted the best of the best of the best. So, and we do screen our coffee for mold. Our coffee is so low in mold because it's grown in that high Huehuetenango region, which is just so elevated in South America, and that's where they say they have the lowest mycotoxins on coffee. Now, when you put the coffee beans in transit, it has to go all the long way in trucks and everything to here. There is some mold growth, but when you grow coffee in a lower moldy region and then it has to go through all that transportation, it's a lot higher than our coffee.
Well, here's the thing. This is the dirty little secret. Everyone says, well, tested for mold. We test for mold, and ours is way, way under. But Serene says there is a little bit. There is a little bit in every coffee. Guess why?
There's a
Because
lot bit in every coffee.
Yeah, much more. Coffee is growing in warm places. And so it has to go to sea level and get on a ship and get places. And so small amounts grow. Now, when you roast the coffee, they're gone anyway, but you don't want a bunch of mold in your coffee, absolutely. So I would put our coffee up with any coffee that says, tested and all of that, because
Because we do test it.
8,000 feet up, you start with 0.
Yeah.
When coffee is growing on a low place, you start with high amounts. So that's the big difference. But don't believe that there can be coffee without a trace of mold.
And we test our peanut flour too. Everything's tested.
Some will in transit start to grow. There's probably mold on quite a few things that we ingest every day. But yeah, you don't want high amounts. When is our next live, Stacey? I don't know. Wasn't this fun? Thank you so much, Chris.
This was so great.
We haven't
so
had
fun
a
to
good
hang
old
out.
real debate.
I know, it's
Like-
like, good. I love it.
Like we haven't.
Like we
No,
used
this
to.
was
We
nothing
used to.
like we used to.
Oh God, no,
Nothing.
we go at it. Yeah, no, this was mild.
I know it was.
It's been awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you guys. We love you. We'll have Chris back because I want to do more of these. This is the way we get to chat again.
I love
I
it.
know,
Yeah,
I
this is
love
the
it.
only way that we
I
get
know.
to chat anymore.
So we'll do it some more.
All right. Bye,
Okay.
everybody.
Bye bye. Bye bye now. Bye bye.